All right, so check this out. You can get a 7.12% return risk-free right now today. This is 100% real. Yes, you heard me. 7.12% risk-free. How? Well, it's something called the I-bond, which is issued directly by the federal government and currently pays a 7.12% return to anybody that holds this I-bond. I'm going to break it down step by step, all of the ins and outs of this, what's the catch, if any, and hint, there's really not, and how to actually get an I-bond today to start earning that sweet 7.12% return. So before we begin, if you wouldn't mind just hitting the like button on this video, it would mean a whole lot to me. Now let's get right into it. So I'm looking right here at my phone, and it turns out the savings account rate at Chase Bank and Bank of America and Wells Fargo is basically 0%, 0.1% for most of them, if they pay any interest at all. Nationwide, the savings account rate is just a mere 0.06% on your money. That is basically robbing you blind, because we know inflation has gone through the roof, which means the real purchasing power of your money is going down every second you leave your money in one of those accounts. And for those who may think that the Federal Reserve's raising of interest rates soon may lift the savings accounts rates of all of these other banks, unfortunately, that doesn't exactly look to be the case, and the reason is banks simply already have too much money on their hands, and as a result, they don't really want to raise interest rates all that much. So today, here's what you could do. You could take that money that you have there and put it into an I-bond at the Treasury Department, yielding you more than 125 times the average savings account interest rate today, just by doing that. And again, it is risk-free. It is the same risk as putting your money there as you would putting it into a bank, because both are backed by the federal government. All right, so let's get into the details of an I-bond. What does an I-bond stand for? Well, it's an inflation-protected bond, an I-bond, hence the I. I-bonds are great because they pay you an interest depending on what the inflation rate is currently. Whatever the federal government posts as the inflation rate, that's what they pay you as your interest, which is why today the interest rate is 7.12%, because as everybody knows, we've had a huge amount of inflation as of late. So how does it exactly work? How do these I-bonds exactly work? We go to treasurydirect.gov. They're the only place that actually issues these I-bonds. You can't get them through your broker or anywhere else. You used to be able to, but as of about a decade ago, the Treasury Department said, we're just going to do them directly. You're allowed to go to the treasurydirect.gov website. That's the only place that they sell them. So you buy your I-bond. Now, how often does it pay interest? Well, it pays interest every single month. That interest is added to the value of your bond. That gets added every 6 months, and every 6 months it is compounded on a semi-annual basis, so that if you have your bond and you get your interest payments along the way, every 6 months the government resets the interest rate, and it also resets the amount of money that you earn on your interest rate, and it adds all the interest you've been paid for the 6 months, and it compounds. So you get not only the interest that you got over the 6 months, you get interest on your interest. You get interest only when you sell the bond. So the interest is added to the bond principal over time, and if you want, you could just sell the bond and then collect all the interest that you would have received for that time period. Now, I-bonds last as long as 30 years, but you don't need to keep them for 30 years. You could sell them anytime after 12 months. All you have to do is hold it for 12 months, and you could sell it at any time. But there is a caveat. If you hold it for 12 months and you sell the bond, you do not get the last 3 months of interest payments on your bond for that time period. So let's just run through the math really fast. So let's just say that you have an I-bond and it yields 7.12% today, and you hold it for 12 months and you decide to sell it. Well, then you would have lost the last 3 months of interest payments, bringing your total interest rate to a still very good 5.34%, because you lost those last 3 months of interest and you were earning 7.12% annualized. That's still absolutely terrific for a risk-free investment. Again, it is risk-free. There is no risk here because it is backed by the federal government. Here's another really great thing about the I-bond. It is exempt from state and local taxes. So if you live in New York or California or Massachusetts or somewhere that has a high amount of state and local taxes, you do not have to pay taxes on this interest at a state and local level. You do, however, have to pay the taxes on the federal government level. So whatever interest you earn at that level, you have to pay the federal government that level of tax on it. But if you don't want to pay taxes, that's cool too. You don't have to. And the way you get around it is if you use the I-bond, any of the interest or payments for educational expenses. You're going to college, private school, whatever, it doesn't matter. Educational expenses are exempt from taxation if you use your I-bonds to pay for them. That is one way to really save some money and actually avoid taxes. So what's the drawback here? Well, I explained kind of the main drawbacks, but let's talk about the limits of purchasing. You must have at least $25 in order to electronically purchase an I-bond, which again is not a whole lot of money, but you cannot have all the money in the world and put them into I-bonds either. You have a limit of $10,000. That is the limit per individual. Now, it is noted that you can have yourself put the money in. If you have a spouse, they can also have a separate $10,000. If you have a business, that business can actually have a separate $10,000. So there's really a lot of different ways you can get around the limit of $10,000. You can aggregate through a lot of different entities and family members, etc. It's a really great savings tool, and it protects you from inflation. And again, it is risk-free, 7.12% yielding today. One other thing to note is that the I-bond interest rate isn't fixed for the life of the I-bond. It is only fixed for the 6-month period of time in which you buy the I-bond, and after that, it resets depending on what the inflation rate is. But if you think, like I do, inflation is not going to slow down anytime soon, you're going to want to protect some of your money by putting it into I-bonds, especially if you want it to be risk-free, because that inflation rate is likely to be high, which means the interest rate is also likely to be high. A couple other really cool things: you cannot lose value on your I-bond. The I-bond cannot go to zero. It cannot lose any principal at all. It is totally protected. Now, the interest rate, like I said, can fluctuate, but the principal itself cannot go to zero. This is different from stocks. It's different from real estate because according, to basically basic risk economics, you can lose money on those stocks and real estate, but you cannot lose money here with a risk-free investment. I think the best use for an I-bond, frankly, is if you want to have like a little bit of an emergency fund, or you're saving money for some goal in the future and you don't want to risk it, or you're saving money for like taxes next year or something like that. You just put your money in and you just earn that cool interest rate, and you could redeem it after 12 months. So that's what I would keep in mind. It's really an awesome tool. Think about it. 12 months, even with that 3-month penalty, is still over a 5% risk-free return today. And again, you can hold it for as long as you want, as long as it's below 30 years. And after 30 years, then they expire. But you can keep buying I-bonds every single year up to $10,000. Every single calendar year. And again, after 5 years, you actually don't have that 3-month penalty at all. So you could put your money in, and after 5 years, you could redeem it at any time whatsoever. Got any questions? Leave them below. And quick plug, if you're looking for a checking account that isn't limited to $10,000 and you want to earn some interest and not have any ATM fees, etc., I recommend SoFi Money. It's an account that I use. Link is in the description below. It's pretty cool. You get a bonus for signing up as well. All right, so let's just talk about how to open an account at Treasury Direct and actually purchase one of these I-bonds. So it's pretty simple. You go to treasurydirect.gov. Again, no other website is necessary. No other website sells I-bonds. treasurydirect.gov. So you go there, and then you go to open an account. Click on open an account, and then you're led to this page. Once you're on this page, you'll see generally what the steps are, which are pretty simple. It's choose the type of account, provide your personal info, and then create a login, password, and answer some security questions. So click apply now, and you're going to want to select individual. You're not going to want to select corporation, partnership, LLC, unless you're doing this for your business, which I wouldn't recommend until you did your individual $10,000 first. Then you're going to select submit and go to this page, which you're going to enter your personal information on here. One thing to note, you need a taxpayer ID number of some sort. Your Social Security, for most of you out there, it's going to be that number. Then you're going to select your bank information here. This is where the Treasury will pull the money from in order to buy your I-bond. You'll click submit, and then you'll lead to this page. You're going to select an image and a caption, and then you're going to submit that, and then the Treasury will email you a confirmation of your account number. Your account number will be on that email, so you're going to want to copy that, go back to the Treasury, go directly to the Treasury Direct login in the top right page of the landing page. Then you're going to select login, of course. You're going to enter your account ID number that was sent via email. And then they're going to send you a one-time passcode. You're going to copy that passcode, go back to the Treasury, enter it, and then put in your password up there. And then from there, you'll be logged in. You're going to select Buy Direct at the top page. You're going to scroll down, select Series I, then Submit, and then say in what frequency you'd like to purchase them. You could do weekly, you could do monthly. It's really that simple, and then you press Submit. And honestly, it's that simple to earn 7.12% interest rate today on your money. It's pretty awesome. If you guys think so too, please like and share this video. It's really important that people protect their money from inflation. And please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll see you next time. Thanks.